Hello guys, how's it going? Just thought I'd make a quick video on my audio video setup for streaming and also just retro gaming in general. So I do have another YouTube channel which is named Mr. Silent Vid. I'll put a link in the description, but basically that's my main channel, and that's where I post stream videos from my Twitch of like personal bests for speedruns, because I do a lot of speedrunning on that channel, and also stuff like no damage runs and whatnot. But I like to get the best video quality I can out of my retro systems, so I'm into all the RGB and sort of thing with the retro systems. So yeah, I thought I'd just walk through my setup and show you guys. Maybe this will give you guys some ideas if you want to get into more of the retro consoles in terms of streaming and just getting good quality out of them. Anyway, so let's start off with the rack, I guess. This is something I upgraded recently. It looks a bit of a mess with all the cables. Trust me, I've spent hours on it, days even, trying to get it organized and cable tied and stuff, and literally this is the best I can get it. There's a lot of cables going to and from shelves, like back and forth, so it's really difficult to cable manage, especially since it's a wire rack. You can see everything, so you can't really hide it that well. But the wire rack's really good because it allows for a bit of ventilation as well. So for example, the PS3 gets very hot, so it adds a bit of ventilation to it, which is cool. But anyway, in terms of audio and video, like I said, most of them are RGB equipped. So the Mega Drive, which you can see over there, the Mega Drive is RGB, Super Famicom's RGB, the PS2 is RGB, and so is the Dreamcast. Now, the Dreamcast I'd like to get 480p VGA at some point, but I'm waiting for retro gaming cables to stock the 480p SCART cable, but at the minute it's just 15 kHz standard RGB. And then I've got HDMI from the 360 and PS3. N64's S-Video at the minute, I still need to RGB mod that system. And the original Xbox's component, and the GameCube is HDMI. Now, the way I have it hooked up is all the RGB stuff goes to this mini Hydra, and that's an automatic SCART switcher. Then that outputs to this Shiny Bow SCART distribution amplifier, which then takes that signal and outputs it twice, one to the OSSC and one to my PVM. And just to clarify, this is a Sony PVM. It's basically a professional video monitor, essentially a high-end CRT for professional use. If I click this switch here, you probably can't see, there we go. It has some buttons that light up, which is pretty cool, but I just like the way it looks. It just looks very nice. But this will give you some of the best video quality you can get out of RGB and 240p. And it'll last for a long time. Like, PVMs are designed to be on 24/7, you know, be on for hours non-stop. So this one has been on almost every day. Obviously there's days where I don't use it, but I use it almost all the time. And I've done live streams where I've had it on for over 15 hours at once, and yeah, it's totally fine. One day it'll probably need a recap, but at the minute it's pretty good. And yes, it's RGB quality from the Mega Drive. It's probably quite hard to see, but it's pretty damn good. And yeah, like I said, I've got the OSSC here. Now, I have this, which is called this is Cineversum Master 2 Scaler. But this is basically a rebranded DVDO iScan VP30, which is a old school upscaler video processor from around 2005. And at the time of its release, it was probably like a couple of £1,000. It was pretty expensive. It's basically for like multimedia, home theater setups. Has loads of different analog connections, and it outputs via HDMI, and it can upscale anything you throw at it up to 1080p 60 FPS. Now, the only thing about it that isn't so good is the fact that this model does not support 240p. Well, it'll accept 240p, but it processes the signal at 480i, so it doesn't do it correctly. So that's why I've got the OSSC here. So anything that's 240p, kind of like PS1 games, Mega Drive, Super Famicom, they go into here. Then the OSSC line doubles it to 480p. Then that goes out via HDMI into the DVDO. And then the DVDO, sorry if this is confusing by the way, the DVDO outputs, like I said, via HDMI into a HDMI switcher, sorry, not a switcher, a splitter. Then that outputs one to the my monitor here, and one to the capture card. And just so you guys know, this is my NEC semi-professional monitor. It's actually a digital signage monitor, but yeah, it's a pretty awesome monitor. It supports 1080p, but its native resolution is like 768p or something like that, but it will do 1080p. But that's a pretty cool monitor as well. But anyway, for the retro stuff, yeah, I play everything I can on the PVM. The HDMI stuff, like the GameCube and these two, go straight into the DVDO, and that just upscales at 1080p. Component goes straight to the DVDO, and yeah, that's pretty much how all the audio video is set up. And I might as well walk you through the system. So this is my hard modded 360 Slim. So I don't know what mod chip it has. I bought this pre-modded. But the reason I wanted a modded 360 is to play imports. So this can play imports. You can also run games with the hard drive and stuff like that. I only got this recently, but it's pretty cool. I'm still learning the ropes with it, because you have to use this, like, I guess, custom Xbox dashboard called Aurora, and it's a bit... I'm still not used to it yet, but I haven't played much of it, but I'm glad to have this, mainly to play imports. This is a soft modded, backwards compatible 60GB PS3. I have upgraded the hard drive to an SSD, and I think it's like a 120 gig SSD. So you can play PS2 games on this as well as PS1. I don't play much PS2 games on this just because, although it's nice quality, I like the quality I feel is much better playing on the actual PS2 and upscaling it using the OSSC and DVDO. But I do use this to play Resident Evil Outbreak on PS2, because you can actually go online with this on PS2 games, so I play Outbreak online using the PS3. Yeah, N64 S-Video, just going straight to the DVDO. Not the best solution, but like I said, I need to RGB mod it. Mega Drive is hard modded, of course, because you can only really hard mod it. But it's got two switches here, one for 50 and 60 Hz and one for Japanese and English. Then we've got Super Famicom. I do have a PAL Super Nintendo, but as you can see, I don't really have the room for a PAL Super Nintendo. So I mainly collect for the Super Famicom. Not just that, but it's much cheaper to collect for the Super Famicom as well. The Xbox Original soft modded. I think I put like a 250 gig SATA hard drive in here. Was it SATA or RD? No, I think it was SATA. Or maybe it's RD. I can't remember what the Xbox uses. But I upgraded the hard drive, and like I said, it's soft modded, so you can put loads of games on the hard drive. And it's got custom component cables. So I did want to get the official advanced AV pack, but it's very expensive, so a UK seller on eBay is basically selling 360 component cables that is custom wired to work with the original Xbox, and they're really good quality, so that's what I'm using with that. The GameCube, I'm using HDMI, mainly because the GameCube has a digital AV port, which is of course digital, so having HDMI directly from that I think is a bit better than going from, like, for example, digital to component, which is analog, and then back to digital. I think skipping the analog to digital process is good, and you won't get any noise or anything. So that's why I went with HDMI for this. But usually I don't like the HDMI adapters. I like just to do the like RGB or component. But with the GameCube, I feel like HDMI makes kind of sense. And the PS2 is just a stock PAL PS2 with 3-bit boot, nothing special on the memory card. And I'm using RGB SCART. And all the RGB SCART cables I have, for the most part anyway, except for the Dreamcast, all the ones I have are retro game cables, just because I know it's good quality and they're from the UK, so it makes sense. Also, I do have some more PS2s. I have two Hong Kong PS2s, so NTSC-J Hong Kong PS2s with with 240 volt power supplies. However, as you can see, I don't have much room, so I mean, I could put stuff on the top shelf, but I really don't want to. I mean, it's a bit too out the way. I think that's, like, I put the PS3 and 360 on the top shelf because they have wireless controllers. I think it's a bit of a stretch trying to put something on the top, so what I want to do is possibly mod this so I can just play all region games. And then, for example, if I want to do speedruns, I can grab one of my official NTSC-J systems or whatever. But yeah, that is the setup. And I've got this 12 socket extension lead for all these devices. That's actually the biggest one I could find, but it's pretty cool. Also, by the way, all the audio goes to this Sony AVR, which is basically a hi-fi amplifier. My computer actually goes to this as well, so everything goes to this. Then I've got these Goodman's bookshelf speakers, and they're actually really nice quality. So that's how the audio is done. And then this is my NEC PC 9821 CS2, which is basically a retro 486 Japanese PC. And unfortunately I haven't got a good way of capturing that. So at the minute it's just hooked up directly via VGA to my NEC multisync monitor. But the OSSC does actually recognize the signal from the PC98, but because the PC98 outputs like lots of different weird resolutions and signals, the OSSC is just, I don't know, it's a proper pain to set up. Like, I would much rather find a different solution. So plus it's all the way over here, it would be lots of cables going back and forth, so I feel like it's a lot better just to have it hooked up, you know, on my monitor at the minute. So no way to capture that. But other than that, I think that's it. So hopefully that gives you guys, yeah, the camera wants to focus. Hopefully it gives you guys an idea of, you know, a streaming retro game setup. This might be a bit too much for you guys, or maybe some of you guys actually understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is my setup. I could make things a little neater if possible. It's just, like I said, it's really difficult with the cables. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And take care.